University, and I'm here with my colleague, Matt, to talk a little bit about career and experiential learning. But before I do that, Matt, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, Krista. So hi, folks. Matt Balser. I currently coordinate the business co-op program for the FC Manning School of Business.
Awesome, great. So in our presentation, we're going to talk a little bit today about career services, and then Matt will take over the second half of the presentation to talk a little bit about co-op and how those two things are a little bit different, but also connected at the same time. So what is career and experiential learning? So career and experiential learning, we look to really empower students to craft their career journey. So when you're coming into university, you may have an idea of what you want to study and then maybe what you want to do afterwards. But sometimes that idea changes all the time when you're introduced to new people, faculty, or maybe you've attended an event or a workshop where you've met someone who has your degree and they're like, I'm doing this thing. And it's very different than what you thought you could do with your degree. We're also trying to ensure that you have confidence, skills, and knowledge to achieve success in your career journey. And now, how do we help you do these things? So we try to help you with job searches and career development. So if you maybe are coming into Acadia and you've come with a psychology degree, we're kind of here to help you to see what can you do with your psychology degree. Maybe you're interested in clinical psychology. Maybe you're interested in doing research. Maybe you're not sure what you're interested in doing with psychology at all. But you wanted to see what different options there are for your career development and what you need to do to get there. Oftentimes, when I'm talking to students about careers, they may say, I really want to be a clinical psychologist, but may not know that they have to go through a couple of different postgraduate programs, and it takes a little bit longer than 4 years to get there. And you need some academic achievement and research and work experience in between there. But when we plan early, we can help you with that. So we support you with career exploration and networking and co-op opportunities. So when we're thinking about career exploration and networking, putting on events that help you maybe connect with those people who are in the psychology field to see what your options are and how maybe they got there. That's one of the things that we can do to support you. And also create opportunities to showcase your skills. So that could be either you working for our department, you sitting on a panel and talking to students maybe after you've graduated to say, hey, this is what I did with my degree, and here's how you can do that with yours too. And also being able to know what you're doing in your classroom and how it reflects in the workplace. Sometimes there might feel like, all I'm doing is writing tests and writing papers. I'm not developing any skills, but actually those things make you develop a lot of skills that make you very employable as a post-secondary graduate. So one of the things that we're going to talk about first is how career services can help you with your job search support. So we like to say there's a difference between a career and a job. So a career is something you want to kind of do long term. Maybe it's connected to your degree of study. A job may be something like a career, but also maybe you want a job just to pay your bills, to keep the lights on, to have food, which you may need as a post-secondary student. So we can help you with that by helping you with your resume and cover letter. So especially keeping it to standards that maybe North American employers are used to seeing, helping you with interview prep. So if you've never had a job before, or maybe are looking for your first work experience in Canada, we can help you understand what those interviews look like, how they're similar, how they're different to jobs you may have had before, how to navigate our job board, looking for opportunities, how to filter opportunities that are of interest to you. And we also do one-on-one support. So all of the 3 previous bullet points we can do as a group. So if you're more comfortable kind of sneaking in as a group and learning from that, you totally can. But we also offer one-on-one support for you too, if you prefer to meet with someone directly. So the second piece that we offer is that career exploration. So remember the difference between career and job. We can offer events that help you network and those further networking opportunities, which may be through a career fair, which we offered in the fall and winter of last year. We also had an opportunity for students last fall to take a bus to Halifax to attend some networking opportunities and career fairs in the city. There's also guest speakers and panels that are offered through our office, but also other offices on campus that we can highlight for you as something that you may wish to attend to explore that career that you're interested in, or even get ideas. And the last piece that we have here is that skill development. So having some on-campus training, workshops, and resources for reflection. So some of what this means is that, we have various points of access for you to develop the skills to share on your resume. So on-campus training might be opportunities to get certificates or further professional development that you can put on your resume. There may also be some workshops that you can learn how to write resume bullet points, or even, again, further your skills on your resume. And then those resources for reflection are to think about, if you had a job as a cashier, rather than kind of being like, well, it was just a cashier job. Like, no, like there's other skills that you learn there that we can reflect on and really put on your resume. And sometimes it doesn't come very easy, especially if I asked you right now to give me 20 action verbs to put on your resume. I don't think I could come up with 20 right on the spot. So being able to help you reflect on your opportunities and really pull those skills so you can craft a really nice picture of yourself on your resume is what we can help you do as well. So I've shared a small piece about career services, and that's open to any student. So any student, regardless of if you're an undergrad or graduate student, international student, domestic student, doesn't matter. You are open to coming to one of us to ask us about job search and your resume. But I'm going to turn over to Matt, who's going to talk a little bit about cooperative education, which has a little bit of a different way to join and get involved.
Thank you, Krista. So I'm going to have Krista support me with transitioning through the slides here as we go. So you may be familiar with what co-op is. Some high schools have co-op programs. You may have already participated in a university degree program prior to enrolling in Acadia, so you may be familiar with co-op, but it may be different at Acadia than what you're familiar with. So at Acadia, we have a degree option, or a co-op is available with degree options with most of our programs. So it's easier to say what doesn't have co-op than what does. So all of our degree programs have co-op options except for our music, kinesiology, education, and engineering programs. So other business, science, arts programs will have a co-op option for you. Co-op allows you to gain hands-on experience, hands-on learning that's related to your program of study. So if you're in the co-op program, if you join the co-op program and you're completing a work term, that work term has to be related to your program of study. So for example, if you're a computer science student, then you wouldn't be doing a biology work term. The work that you're doing has to be related to your program. Students who join the co-op program complete 3 4-month work terms over the course of their degree, and they are paid work terms, and full-time employment is defined as at least 35 hours of work per week, and the terms have to be at least 12 weeks, so reaching 420 hours of paid employment. So those are some of the pillars of cooperative education. If we can go to the next slide, we'll dig in a little deeper. So what's in it for you as the student? So we talked about hands-on experience, being able to expand upon the knowledge that you've acquired through your classes, seeing how that's implemented in a professional workplace or in a different environment outside of the university. Krista mentioned about the idea of career exploration. So a lot of co-op students are in the co-op program because they may not be sure of exactly what they want to do or what they can do with their degree program. So being able to test drive different careers, as we mentioned, 3 co-op work terms over the course of your degree. They can be with 3 different organizations. They can be doing 3 very different things. So being able to graduate with a better idea as to what you enjoy and what you may want to pursue after graduation. Networking opportunities, co-op students often have exclusive access to opportunities that non-co-op students don't have access to, either on campus or during their work terms with organizations. You get to network with people within those organizations and other events that those organizations may be participating in. As I mentioned, co-op work terms are paid. So it allows co-op students to earn some income to support themselves while they're a student. You'll graduate, assuming that you complete the 3 work terms, you'll graduate with the equivalent of a year's worth of relevant work experience. And at Acadia, our co-op program is an academic program, and you receive academic credit for the completion of your work terms. So that's different. Some institutions, some universities, their co-op programs are not for credit, or they may be above and beyond the credit that's required to satisfy the degree. But at Acadia, each co-op work term gives you credit hours towards that 120 credit hour degree requirement. So they satisfy some of the electives that you would otherwise have to take. Next slide, please. So much like other programs at Acadia or the university's approach as a whole, co-op is very personalized. Co-op students are assigned to a coordinator who works directly with them during their time in the program. So that one-on-one support is a pillar of our program. That coordinator that you work with will support you with resume, cover letter, writing, as well as interview preparation. There's professional development workshops on these topics as well that provide you with access to resources to support you throughout your development. And you are given access to various co-op opportunities, job opportunities with local and national organizations. We have a co-op portal where those jobs are posted to, and co-op students have exclusive access to that portal where you can view and apply to the positions that are of interest to you. So we have a slide here that shows some of the availability of co-op programs I mentioned earlier, the programs that do not have co-op options, and all of our other programs within the Faculty of Professional Studies, Science, and Arts do have co-op options. So eligibility. So co-op students have to have certain criteria that are met before being active in the program. So students typically apply after their first year, but the actual threshold is based on the number of credit hours completed. So you have to have between 24 and 72 credit hours completed at the time of joining. Okay, so typically a first year student will achieve 30 credit hours at the end of their first year. And then they would be able to join the co-op program in the fall of their second year. But it does come down to having those specific number of credit hours completed, as well as a cumulative GPA of at least 2.5. So at the time of applying, your cumulative GPA has to be at least 2.5. So this slide outlines the process of joining and pursuing the co-op program. So again, after you achieve that 24 credit hour threshold, then you can apply to join the co-op program. Once you're admitted, then you will undergo some professional development training through the completion of various modules on things, including resume and cover letter writing, interview preparation, networking, professional communications, and so on. And these workshops are designed to equip you with what you need to start applying to positions, interviewing for jobs, and ultimately being ready to integrate yourself into the organization as part of your work term. As mentioned before, your co-op coordinator is there to support you throughout this process, as well as be there to support you throughout your work terms. So you complete, as mentioned, 3 co-op work terms over the course of your degree. Those are typically 4-month work terms. You may see 8-month, 12 or 16-month internships as well, although they are not as common, but they are available. More information will come on that once you're admitted to the program, and we dig a little bit deeper into what those options look like. There are assignments that our students complete while they're on a co-op work term. As mentioned before, co-op is an academic program at Acadia, and because you're receiving academic credit for the completion of those work terms, you have to do some assignments throughout your work term to satisfy those course requirements. They're mostly reflective in nature, and there is a final assignment that's typically a report or a presentation that's graded to determine whether you have successfully completed that course. So that's the process that you go through. Once you finish your first co-op work term, then you start that process over again as you start looking for your second and ultimately your third co-op work terms. So this slide outlines some frequently asked questions that we get from students. So we'll go through these together. So the first question that we often receive is, are there fees associated with the co-op program? And yes, there are fees. There's a fee to register or enroll in the program. That's $150. And that fee is designed to cover the professional development workshops that you complete. And then the actual work terms, the co-op courses carry tuition, much like the other courses that you complete as part of your degree. So the current fee, the current tuition for an international student on a 4-month co-op work term is $2,272.11, and that is subject to change yearly. The next question that we often get is, how many credit hours do students receive upon the completion of a work term? So if you are completing a 4-month work term, which is the typical time frame of a work term, you receive 2 credit hours. So if you complete the 3 co-op work terms, that will be a total of 6 credit hours, which is equivalent to 2 electives. So that means that there's 2 electives that you do not have to take by completing the co-op program. Our co-op work terms graded. So as I mentioned a few moments ago, that there are assignments that our co-op students have to complete as part of their program, and those assignments are graded. Co-op courses are pass or fail. So while the assignment may be graded, that grade that you receive on your assignment is not reflected on your transcript. The grade is simply to determine whether or not you receive a pass or fail for that course. And that P or F, pass or fail, is reflected on your transcript. The passing grade doesn't have a positive or negative impact on your GPA, but a failing grade would have a negative implication. So more information to come on that. I won't go into any more detail today, but yes, those work terms are graded and they're pass or fail. Are work terms guaranteed? So when I mentioned before about being able to apply to positions that you see through our co-op portal, co-op students don't have to only apply to positions within our portal. You can secure your own work term. You can apply to positions on LinkedIn or through Indeed or other job search sites. But it's a partnership between you and your co-op coordinator. We work together to try to help you find opportunities. But work terms are not guaranteed. It's a competitive process. You're competing for these jobs with other Acadia co-op students, other co-op students at other universities across the country, and we can't guarantee that the employer is going to select you for that job. But what we can do is work with you to make sure that your application documents are as good as they can be, that you're as competitive as you can be when you're interviewing those positions for those positions. But it's not a placement program. We don't guarantee those work terms. Another question that's often asked is what happens if students do not find a position when they're applying for a work term. So we set out a sequence or a schedule when you're first admitted to the co-op program that outlines when you'll be in class, when you'll be out on a work term. If you don't secure a work term, we can reschedule those work terms. So if you were scheduled to work during a winter semester, for example, and you're unsuccessful in securing a work term, then maybe we'll schedule that for the following fall semester. So while it's not the goal to reschedule your work terms, there's often flexibility early on in a student's program to be able to make up those missed work terms. And you're not charged any tuition if you're unsuccessful in securing a work term. You only pay the course tuition if you secure a work term and are registered in that co-op course. Next slide, please.
Sorry, Matt, I think one of the things that isn't mentioned on here is if you don't find a position when your scheduled work term can be. So some students, when they enter co-op, they think that they can finish their last semester at Acadia on a work term and then go right into that work placement, and they've graduated and they've done their thing. But students have to, when they finish a work term, need to be coming back for class. So it is sometimes when we're rescheduling students' work terms, sometimes they just run out of semesters for us to do that. And that's a conversation that we have, because you cannot graduate on a work term. You have to be coming back to class. And it has to be at least for three courses is the minimum. So even if you're like, I'm going to come back for just like one class, like we can't do that. So I know it's farther off into the future, but something I always like to have students keep in mind is if they're like, oh, I'll just do, one term of co-op at my very last semester so I can work my last term and then just go work at this company. We actually can't do that. Like we wouldn't approve that as a co-op work term for you. So I just wanted to throw that in there. Sorry.
Good point. Thanks, Krista. So this slide here, you'll see an array of organizations that are recent employers of co-op students. I won't go through all of these organizations during this presentation. Some of them you may recognize. Of course, there are some large national and international organizations there when we look at the Royal Bank, for example. But we have partnerships with for-profit, nonprofit, startups, government organizations and agencies. So there's an array of options for students. Not all students may be interested in working for a big bank. Some students know already that they're interested in being in a nonprofit or working for a startup tech company. And we're pleased to be able to see opportunities for students with a good assortment of organizations, both large and small, both local and national and international. So we've covered a lot of material here during this presentation. It's by no means designed to give you everything you need to know about what we offer in terms of career services related support and our co-op program, but hopefully it's given you an introduction to what may be available to you as you come to Acadia in your first year Those career services related supports will be valuable for you to seek out. It will help you if you're interested in joining the co-op program in your second year, getting started in your first year, thinking about what some of your skills are, thinking about getting an opportunity between first and second year during that summer, volunteering, getting involved with your campus community through student clubs or whatnot. Those are all important things that you can do early in your degree to help build your portfolio of skills and competencies to make you that much more competitive and ready for when you're applying for internships or co-op opportunities later in your degree. So on this screen, you have contact information. There's two websites there that I'll draw your attention to. One is for career services, one is for co-op specifically. There's more information on both of those sites, so I encourage you to check those out. If you have questions about our program, you can certainly email us at coop@acadiau.ca, and one of our team members will certainly get back to you. But we look forward to having you join us. Thank you for choosing Acadia University as your university of choice. If there's specific questions and you want to learn more, contact us. We'd love to hear you, or stop by and see us when you're on campus in September. Is there anything, Krista, that you'd like to add to that?
No, I